Thank you for tuning in and welcome back, team. In today's episode of Home Selling Tips, you'll learn how to price your home to sell, what the differences between valuations and comparables. My name is Andrew Finney, your real estate geek. If you need help finding a top agent where you live, or if you simply want to drop me a line and say hello, my contact info is below. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel now and like this video. Thank you. Okay, team, so let's take a look at this. Whenever you have a home and you're getting ready to sell it, there's a lot of confusion sometimes because you see different prices across the internet. You have a property tax assessment. You have these different assessments on your home, from homeowners insurance assessments, and then obviously what you desire the value to be. It's really important to know the difference between valuations of your home and the comparables of your home. It's the comparables of the home that are going to help an appraiser go out and assign a value on your home. So let's first take a look at understanding valuations. There's 7 critical valuations that we want to cover and review in today's episode. So the first one that we want to take a look at is actually your property tax assessment. So with your property tax assessment, what we're looking at is that each jurisdiction across the country has a different formula to establish the home value for the purpose of the tax assessment itself. But that price rarely, very rarely, will actually correlate with the true market value of your home. So whenever you're looking at your tax assessed value, don't believe that's your home value, because in many cases, it's not. The second type of valuation that can trip people up sometimes are homeowners valuation. So in other words, like homeowners insurance value in specific. So with insurance estimates, they're actually based on the cost of replacing your home without the land. So the value is skewed compared to the market value of the home, which would also include the land that your home sits on. Then the third one that sometimes trips people up is your actual mortgage balance. How much do you owe on your home as a valuation, right? So if your mortgage balance is essentially just simplifies and specifies how much you owe on your home. So if you bought your home at $300,000 and you've been paying on it for like 10 years, you might owe $180,000 or $180,000 or $200,000 on your home. So just because you see that amount as the amount that you owe, that does not indicate your market value of your home. It just indicates the amount of debt that you have left to repay your mortgage, okay? So then the next thing is that, and this one is pretty common, and it's whenever people say, oh, my neighbor's home sold for X number of dollars. Your neighbor's home value does not indicate that your home will get the same price, a better price, or less of a price. What it does suggest is that's what that home in specific sold for. There may be several homes in the community that may seem similar on the exterior, but on the interior, they may have different features, benefits, upgrades, or maybe they don't have them. So you're gonna have to take that into consideration. When we look at your neighbor's home value, we will be looking at that underneath the comparables. So when we get into the second part of this episode, that's where we'll start taking a look at how we perform comparables as a trusted real estate advisor, and how an appraiser looks and assigns a valuation of your home, okay? So the next thing is, the fifth point here is the cost when you purchased your home. Whenever you bought that home, let's go back to our example. Let's say that you paid $300,000 for your home. Just because you paid $300,000 for your home doesn't mean that it's going to be the same 5 years into the future. Ideally, we would like to see your home would have appreciated over that 5-year cycle, but we all know that real estate is in constant motion. It can go up and down. There's always market cycles and market factors, right? So if you pay $300,000 for your home, ideally you're building up equity over time. So what you paid for your home is not the valuation of your home. It was simply the price of your home and the valuation of your home at the time that you bought your home, okay? So then the sixth thing, and this is always an interesting one too, is what a seller desires to get for the home. Your desired value is likely always going to be different than the realistic value. There's a lot of people that I meet with, and they have an idea of what they would like to get for the home, and sometimes it actually falls in line with about what the comparables are, or it's actually, I've actually seen families where they say they would like to get X number of dollars, but the market value is actually more. And that's a good thing, and it comes as a relief to them, and they're thinking to themselves, wow, I can sell and I'm going to make a little bit more money than I thought I was going to make. This is great. So it's always about understanding the market conditions. Even if you desire a value for a home, doesn't mean that you're going to get it. And there's a big fallacy sometimes that goes around and with people when they get ready to sell. It's like selleritis in some ways. And yeah, I guess I made that up, selleritis, right? Where they have a desired value for the home and they're going to stick to it, and they believe with a passion, with a fervor, the right buyer's in their home that's going to buy their home all cash, and they're just going to buy it. The only issue with that is that it's completely unrealistic, and it's like hoping and wishing on a unicorn and a rainbow. So do those unicorns exist? Very, very, very rarely do they exist. And that's just the honest to God truth. And I don't want you to set yourself up for failure with a misconception. It's better to be realistic. That's why you clicked on this video today, was to learn these differences so that you can better plan your home selling strategy and the best way to price your home. So then the seventh one is the most guilty culprit of them all, actually. And that's online valuations. Now, online valuations, you see them all over the place. Redfin has them, Zillow has them, a lot of different websites have valuations, and they give you this idea or this range of what your home should sell for. Here's the trick with online valuations and why they're very, very rarely going to be accurate. And Zillow does a good job of self-reporting actually with their variances by city. If you go into digging into the website itself, you can actually check and see what Zillow is self-reporting, the differences in between their Zestimate, they call it, are, and also what the homes actually sell for are by a percentage basis. And in a lot of cases, it could be 7 to 10% off. And that could be 7 or 10% more. It could be 7 to 10% less. So it's really important to understand that online valuations actually are looking at the property tax records, and specific when they look at county assessor records. If somebody did a refinance on their home, or if somebody did a private transfer, in other words, maybe they gave the house to a family member and they might have sold it for a lot less than it was worth, or maybe they just gave it to them for whatever was owed on the mortgage, or if there was another type of private party sale, those will report to the county anytime a property changes hands. Well, the way that those Zestimates and online estimates work is they're actually reading data sets. And when you read data sets, your result is always going to be an indicator of just how strong and accurate that data is that you're receiving. They don't show they will actually also incorporate the multiple listing service sales of what real estate agents and trusted real estate advisors do as well. But when you take that and you combine it with a refi, you combine it with a private party transfer, you combine it with all these different types of residential home sales, and you mix it in with the multiple listing service number, that's how you get a skewed number. Sometimes it's going to be high, sometimes it's going to be low, and sometimes it might be actually pretty close. But it's important to know that online valuations are nothing more than like Credit Karma, where you have a benchmark estimate of how much your credit score is on Credit Karma, and online home valuations, you have a benchmark estimate range of what your home value might be. The best way to get to the actual estimated fair market value is by contacting a trusted real estate advisor and asking them to perform a comparative market analysis, setting a time to meet so that they can explain the process that they use to determine the fair market value of your home, and ask them the questions that you have. Now that brings us into the second part of today's episode, which is actually assessing the value and determining a fair market value range. So when we start looking at that, it's first important to understand that real estate agents will often use the term comps. What comps mean is that they're looking at comparable sales in and around your community. Normally, it's best if they can keep it as concentric as possible to your exact community and find model match sales, or find homes within a 200 square foot variance. So in other words, if you have a home and it's 3,000 square feet and we want to go with maybe a 200 square foot variance, that means we'd be looking at homes for comparables between 2,800 and 3,200 square feet. And this is whenever you see your neighbor's home, going back to the fourth point in the first section of this episode. This is when people say, well, my neighbor's home sold for X, right? And this is where the confusion sometimes exists. When you start multiplying out price per square foot, and you might have 100 square foot difference in between those homes, and let's say the price per square foot is like $200 or $300, right? If that's the price per square foot, multiply 200 by 100, and how big of a difference did you just get? $20,000. So when you wonder, whenever you see these different homes at different prices in your own community, it's important to understand that, and that's one of the determining factors of the estimated fair market value, is going right down to the square foot, multiplying it out. Now, there's a specific formula that I use on the Andrew Finney team, and I teach my agents, and I actually help other agents in my office learn how to do this as well, just to render better service to you. There's different ways of doing it. If you want me to make a video about how I do that, just let me know and I can make a video about it. It'll probably help out a lot of people in understanding comparable value and assessing value. The only way that you're going to be able to truly do that is with a trusted real estate advisor, because you will need access to all the resources available. Anyways, that explains comps. So let's go ahead and get into it. The value of your home relates to the local sales price, right? So for the same home located elsewhere, it would likely have a different value. Here in Las Vegas, Nevada, if you take a home that's located in North Las Vegas, and you take that home, exact same model match home, over to like Northwest Las Vegas, they're likely going to be difference of price by $50,000 more expensive based upon the location, Northwest Las Vegas. In fact, most recently, I was at a new home community helping a great family buy a new home construction. And what was interesting is I was chatting with a new home agent, and she said, yeah, our model match down in Henderson, which is another area of the greater Las Vegas area, down in Henderson is actually $125,000 more than this home here in North Las Vegas. Exact same home, exact same features, exact same benefits. So that's how significant a location can make a home. So you have to factor that in when you're looking at your local sales, when you look at your value of your home relating to the local sales price and the location of your home. When they say real estate's location, 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 it is. It's a true story. Okay. So the second point is a sales price. Sales prices are a product of supply and demand. Obviously, if you're in a seller's market, it's going to drive the prices up, because what a seller's market is there's less homes available for sale than there are buyers in the market. In other words, there's simply just not enough homes for home buyers to buy. And it's unfortunate for the buyers. But from a seller perspective, you can actually get the best price of any market at any time in that position. You just have to know where you're going next whenever you become a home buyer, if that's going to be the case. So obviously, if you have more buyers, if you have more homes available for sale than there are buyers, then you'd be in a buyer's market where you're trying to attract the buyers. Every market behaves differently, and there's different strategies to sell a home in each of the market conditions. So I've talked about that a lot in other home selling tips videos. And then there's core fundamentals that should be done in every single market, regardless of how hot or how cold a seller's market is, to position your home in the best light possible and get the best price possible. So you might want to refer back to some of those other videos in the home selling tips playlist. The third thing is that what an owner needs can impact a sales value. Let's say that an owner of a home had a very real need to sell the home quickly. For whatever reason in their life, they had to sell the home quickly. And let's say every other home in the community was selling around $500,000 to $550,000, depending on the square feet, right? Let's say they were selling between $500,000 and $550,000. But this seller had a very real need to sell quickly, and like really quickly. And let's say that they didn't owe, maybe they only owe like $250,000 on home. So they might actually cut their price down to $450,000. So over 10% different than what the market value is. Now you might be wondering, well, Andrew, why would an agent ever allow that? Because at the end of the day, we have what's called fiduciary duties to our clients. We're going to be obedient, we're going to be loyal, provide full disclosure, maintain your confidence, give you full accounting, and give you what's called reasonable skill and care. At the end of the day, we share our facts, we share the findings and the facts of the situation with you for your market value, the home selling process, and it's you, the seller, that's ultimately going to determine the price. Now, if the price that you want to set is higher than an agent is willing to accept your listing, then maybe they don't work with you. At the same time, if a seller wants to sell their home for less, then you might, as a trusted real estate advisor, I've been in that position before where I'm sharing with them, we could still get your home sold quickly. It just might take 10 days as opposed to 24 hours. Would that be okay? Because for the difference of 9 days, you're going to make $20,000 more in your home. And they said, no, Andrew, no. This is what I want to do. Okay. As a trusted real estate advisor, I'm bound by my code of ethics and fiduciary duties to that client to do as they wish. I've counseled them and given them my assessment and my honest opinion. At the end of the day, it's their home, and they can do as they choose to do with their home. So it's something to think about, and it's something to consider when you do see sometimes home sales in your community that just don't make any sense. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes different things happen in different people's lives. Everything changes in life. Life changes, right? So things happen. Let's just put it that way. So then the fourth point underneath the assessing value and determining the price is actually a sales price is not based on what an owner needs to sell the house. Now, this goes back and directly correlates to point 6 and the understanding valuations part, where we're talking about desired value, right? It's one thing to desire value. It's one thing to want a price. Most sellers that I've ever come across, I'd say 99% of them at least, will always want the most money for their home as the market's willing to bear. And that makes sense. It's a normal thing to want that. The same way a buyer always wants to pay the least amount of money for a property as possible. It's just normal, right? It's human nature. So it makes a lot of sense. And that's the way it works. Unfortunately, the market's not going to give a seller what they need just because the seller needs that amount. The market is the market, where it's subject to the laws of supply and demand. It's subject to buyer and seller demand. It's subject to so many different variables and that are in the market at any given time. If the market is not willing to bear the price that you need for your home, then perhaps it's just best to wait it out or make a concession on what you need in that house. Something to think about, okay? Now, the fifth thing is that a sales price is not the whole package. And specific, I always say in home buying tips, home selling tip videos, across the different playlists that I have, the devil's in the details. It really is. I mean, take for instance, if you have a home and you wanted to, you have a home and your home is worth $500,000. Okay, let's say that you got an offer at $500,000, your list price. That would be awesome, right? And let's say that buyer's not asking you for anything in the form of seller contribution, any concessions, or any repairs on your home. And then you have a buyer that offers you $515,000, but they're asking you for $15,000 seller contribution towards their buyer closing costs. They're asking you for $3,000 worth of repairs, and they're asking you for a home warranty, and they're asking you for a different allowance for maybe they needed a carpet allowance because the carpet was messed up, or a flooring allowance because the flooring was messed up, or maybe a roof repair. So let's say that out the door they were essentially looking for like $25,000. Now, on an estimated net sheet, that's where the importance of having those performed by your trusted real estate advisor come in. If you have an offer of $500,000 and a $515,000 on face value, it would look like that $515,000 was a better offer. Now, wouldn't it? It would. It makes sense. But when you start breaking down the terms and the conditions of that contract, you would find on an estimated net sheet that offer of $500,000 is much, much stronger than that offer of $515,000 in this example. Because remember a moment ago I shared with you, let's say all the concessions that buyer that was offering you $515,000 requested amounted to $25,000. Well, if you take $515,000 and you subtract $25,000, what is the end product? It's $490,000, which just made your $500,000 offer stronger in the amount of money you're getting back by $10,000. So the devil's in the details. It really, really is. It's something to think about. It's something to consider, and it's something to be honest with yourself about when you're getting ready to sell your home. So then going to a sixth point, we're going to tie into that property tax again. And I just want to reiterate this point when it comes down to online valuations and things that you see, when they include property tax records with the refis, the private sales, private property transfers, or just simply doing a family member a solid by helping them become a homeowner and just giving them a home essentially for whatever's owed on it. I've seen that happen. It happens more often than some may think. So it's something to think about. Now, today's episode has been very intense as far as what you're looking at in understanding valuations of properties and then assessing value and determining a fair market value range. Now it's your turn to tell me what was the most significant part of this video to you. Was it actually understanding the valuations, and that even though a neighbor's home may have sold for a certain price doesn't necessarily indicate that your home will sell for that price, okay? Or was it the identifying, at least in a very easy to understand way, what comparable ranges are and how to identify comparable ranges? Or was it perhaps that the devil's in the details? A sales price is not the whole package. Tell me what you're thinking about this video, along with any of your savvy home selling tips, in the comments section below. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go ahead and pop up my contact information. If you need help finding a top agent where you live, or if you simply want to drop me a line to say hello, my contact information is on the screen and down below. Thank you so much for watching today, team. In between now and next time, I'm wishing you and yours a lifetime full of love, wealth, abundance, and happiness. Enjoy an amazing day.